Forretress is in the unfortunate position of not learning a single stab move via level up or TM. It can get pin missile via breeding, but that's no use to us here. Will the lack of stab and a very limited learn set make this challenge impossible? We'll find out together. This run was requested by Zero on Patreon. If you'd like to request your own run, you can find all the details at patreon.com/trainersquidgy. In this run, we're very much going to have to play to Forretress's strengths. It has a grand total of 9 resistances, including a 4x resistance to grass, as well as an immunity to poison, and on top of that it only has one single weakness, a 4x weakness to fire. So as long as we can hit relatively consistently, we shouldn't have that much trouble in the later game. However, as a bug type, we are going to struggle against the first gym. And with all that out of the way, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Chikorita with Pineco. That will mean the rival will have Cyndaquil, which will be the worst type matchup for Pineco. At level 5 we have 21 HP, we're holding a berry and our moves are Tackle and Protect. We've got 12 in attack, a whopping 15 in defense, 10 in the specials and 8 in speed. So we are very defensive but also very slow. And now that we're as happy as we can be, the graphics can come in and we can get this challenge underway. As always, I will show you the very first encounter we get with a Pokemon to see just what we're up against. We have a level 3 Rattata and we get a lucky critical hit, so I'm going to show you the battle after this as well, just because it's a critical hit, and also I want to show Pineco doing well. It's one of the very few times that will have happened in this entire run. So we 3-shot both Rattata and we can move on towards Mr. Pokemon. At Mr. Pokemon's house we have a chance encounter with Professor Oak, and now that child labour is outlawed in the Kanto region, he has to use Johtonian children to fill his Pokedex instead. So after reluctantly agreeing to do his work for him, we get healed by Mr. Pokemon, and we can make our way back towards Cherry Grove City. Our attack stat is actually decent for this point in the game, and we have a physical attack in Tackle, so this battle might not be as difficult as it first seems on paper because Cyndaquil does not have a fire type move yet. We get a critical hit to take it just over half health, and it's just 4 shots to take care of the Cyndaquil, and we only took 9 damage in that entire battle, so our defences are really coming in strong already. So we defeat the rival and then we go to the police officer in Professor Elm's laboratory. We call the rival Triple Question Mark because that's his name, and we can now ascend the Sprout Tower in Violet City. Sprout Tower should be very easy for Pineco because it's a bug type, and the only Pokemon we've got to watch out for is Hoothoot, but I don't think Hoothoot knows any flying type moves at this point in the game, so we can just tackle away the Bellsprout. Out comes Bellsprout number 2, and you can see we're taking very little damage because even though we're not 4x resistant to grass type moves, that 2x resistance means we're only at 6 HP down as the Hoothoot comes out. And we've just got to keep tackling it. That's our only attacking move apart from self-destructs, which we learn en route, and we can never use self-destructs because that would end the run entirely. And after a bit of back and forth, we do eventually beat Sagely. We get the Flash HM and we can move on to Falconer, the flying type trainer. At least Falconer is honest about his typing, and he leads with a Pidgey. Pidgey doesn't have a flying type move, so it dealt negligible damage, and we are only 6 HP down as the Pidgeotto comes out. Unfortunately for me though, I completely forgot to attach a berry, and that let Pidgeotto knock us out. But a couple of turns later we have a much better run. Pidgey deals a little bit of damage each time with Tackle, gets a critical hit there which was a bit unfortunate, and we are now onto the Pidgeotto once more. Gus does a bit of damage, Gus does a bit more damage, but we heal with the berry. We get gusted again and we get a lucky critical hit. We survive on 1 HP to defeat Falconer and get our first badge. Zephyr badge in a time of 14 minutes and 7 seconds. Now this is a very slow time compared to a lot of other Pokemon, but I am just glad to be out of Violet City. And now that we're out of Violet City, it is HM friend time. Now the new rules mean we will pause our timer in between encounters, but the timer will be running when we are trying to catch the Pokemon. It's the best of both worlds there, because some Pokemon like Pineco can weaken the enemy Pokemon and make it a little bit easier to catch. Now as for the other Pokemon in the series that have been done before the rule change, I'll be going through most of them and doing them on live streams, and then we'll take the better of their 2 times. So if their time was better without pausing the game, that will be the time that they have. If the time is better with pausing, we'll put that time on the leaderboard and we'll have a big video where we rejig everything about. I hope that sounds good to you. Let me know in the comments. I can change my plans, it's not in production yet. If you hate that idea, let me know now so I don't get on with it and waste a bit of time. But we called our HM friends. I'm going to take you into the Azalea Gym where we have a little chat with Bugcatcher Benny. And the reason I'm showing you this battle is because we do take a reset here. Now I've got another question for you. I know I'm full of questions today. Would you like me to show battles that aren't major battles but where we still take a reset? Because otherwise that counter's going to go up and up randomly, and it's going to be a little bit trickier to follow where Pineco in this instance struggles. Let me know in the comments below, do you want to see all the battles where I have to take a reset, or do you just want the resets in the major battles? And because that Weedle kept poisoning us, it took us a couple of resets to get through Benny here, but eventually we didn't get poisoned by Weedle's Poison Sting, and we can move back onto the Kakuna in much better stead. Poison damage can be very, very frustrating when you don't have a high attack stat, because it's guaranteed an eighth of your health at the end of each turn. Beedrill cannot poison us though, and we get a critical hit with Takedown to knock it out, and we have defeated Benny, and we can move on to Bugsy. And Bugsy of course is a bug type leader and will lead with Metapod. Metapod is just a PP drain really, he can't really do much to attack us and hurt us directly apart from a couple of HP here and there, but we get a lucky critical hit and we are on to the Kakuna. We don't get poisoned on the first Poison Sting or the second Poison Sting. He chooses to harden on the third turn, and that is brilliant for us because we are not poisoned for the Scyther. Now Scyther is a very pesky Pokemon to come up against this early on in the game. It has a ludicrous attack stat, and even a Pokemon like Pineco, which is very, very defensive, can struggle because Fury Cutter can build up power very easily, especially if we didn't have Protect, and Quick Attack is also a very strong move on Scyther, and here I made a bit of a misplay by protecting twice in a row, and that I think is what lost the battle for us first time because Scyther had the priority move to knock us out. But a couple of attempts later we get onto another battle. We get another critical hit against the Metapod, which means we can take it down in just 3 hits, taking only 4 HP of damage. Kakuna hardens on the first turn and Poison Stings on the second turn. Fortunately we get good Poison Sting luck and we don't get poisoned at all by this Kakuna, even after 4 Poison Stings hit. That means we're now on to the Scyther. Scyther uses Quick Attack, we use a Tackle, we Protect on our next turn to stop him building up Fury Cutter. We Tackle again and then Protect, and we've just got to alternate. It's a very, very slow strategy, but this is the way to stop Fury Cutter building and building and building, and eventually knocking us out. We get a very lucky critical hit in the mix of all the moves there, and that does eventually mean we can take it out surviving on 9 HP. So we grow to level 19 and we have defeated Bugsy in a time of 28 minutes and 9 seconds. We can now move on to rival number 2. Rival number 2 will lead with a Ghastly, and have you spotted it yet? Because I didn't until I engaged him in battle. We have no way of being able to hit the Ghastly, and we will have no way of being able to hit the Ghastly until level 22. The reason for that is we have self-destruct on our learn set, and with the challenge rules meaning that we have to reset when our Pokemon faints, we have no way of getting to struggle at all until we replace self-destruct with Rapid Spin at level 22. So it's going to be a bit of a grind to get through Rival 3, but maybe it'll all be worth it in the end because we'll have a little easier time going forwards. So after running out of trainer Pokemon and ending up having to knock out a bunch of wild Pokemon, we eventually replace Self-Destruct with Rapid Spin. That's half the battle done, but the fun is not over yet. Now that we have learnt Rapid Spin, we need to deplete all our remaining PP so that we can actually use Struggle, and this all in total took about 15 minutes from beating Bugsy to getting to a point where we could even land a hit on Rival 2's first Pokemon. This is the longest time I have ever had to spend grinding in between Bugsy and Rival 2, but we are finally here, so let's see how the battle goes. He leads with that very, very pesky Ghastly, but we're able to knock it out in just 1 hit. Onto Quilava we go, and Quilava deals massive damage with Ember, and combined with Struggle's recoil, that's enough to knock us out. We've got to hope that Quilava this time uses a status move instead. So we're back through the Ghastly and onto the Quilava, and this time it Leers, but Leer fails. He uses a Smoke Screen on the second turn, Ember on the third turn, but that's not enough to knock us out, and we are on to Zubat. We recover with a Berry, we get confused, we don't hit ourselves, but we miss. I didn't realise Struggle could miss in this generation, and eventually as the smoke clears, we are able to land a hit on Zubat and survive with 13 HP. Let's move very quickly on out of Azalea Town and into Goldenrod City. We're going to get the Cut HM, we're going to get Headbutt to give ourselves a much better normal type move, and we're going to teach Headbutt straight away in place of Tackle. And now that we've done that, we can move on into Goldenrod City proper, where the first thing we're going to do is pick up the coin case so that we can get the Abra, and then we're going to get a haircut from the younger haircut brother. Now honestly, I can't see any difference with my Pineco after that, so maybe I need to ask him for a refund next time I'm down there. I think he just moved a couple of the bits about. But moving on from being ripped off by the haircut brother, we pick up Abra. Abra is going to be used for teleports in place of Fly until we get the badge, and in a couple of places after that. We pick up Kenya for Fly, and then in Spinner Hell we encounter Fire Breather Walt. Of all the trainers we could have encountered, we had to encounter the one with the 2 bumhead fire ducks, and to make matters worse, he gets a critical hit and we get knocked out. We avoid him next time though and pick up the rollout TM. We also get the Quick Claw, which is going to be used interchangeably with the King's Rock in this run. We get Dig for Paris, we chat with Floria, and now it's time to take on Whitney. Whitney is a normal type trainer, however her Miltank does no rollout, and rollouts will be super effective against the Pineco. We headbutt the Clefairy twice and take care of it without taking any damage at all, and we're on to Miltank. The cow starts to roll and the power's already building up, however we get a lucky Quick Claw and a lucky miss to defeat Whitney first time in a time of 55 minutes and 48 seconds. We can now move on to Ecruteak City. And the first thing we do in Ecruteak City, of course, is pick up Surf from the Kimono Dance Theatre, and it's at this point I remember a rival battle is coming up, and we still don't have anything at all to hit ghost types, so it's very lucky that rollout TM was just south of the National Park, because that means we can replace Rapid Spin with rollouts. We weren't using Rapid Spin anyway, and it'll give us at least a little chance at getting through ghost types, both here in the rival battle and in Morty's gym. So he leads with Haunter, and Haunter swears at us. We hit our rollout and do a little bit of damage. We take some curse damage and we knock it out on our second turn. Quilava uses Smoke Screen instead of attacking us, and that means we can knock it out in one hit without taking curse damage. We get the option to learn Bide at this point, and I decide to take it instead of Takedown. I'm not a big fan of recoil moves, so that was an easy choice for me there, and out comes the Magnemite. Magnemite resists rollouts, but it's so high powered at the moment that it doesn't matter, and we knock out the Zubat as well, and we have defeated the rival on our very first try. I was amazed at that. So now let's see if we can keep that luck going as we enter Morty's gym. He is of course a ghost type leader, and he will lead with a Ghastly. Now on the first turn here I tried Protect, because I wasn't sure if Protect stopped Curse giving us any damage, and the answer to that is no. We get licked and paralysed for our sins there, and we do eventually knock out the Ghastly, but this battle is already out of our control. Haunter uses Nightshade, we don't hit it in one shot, and we get knocked out. Let's try again, shall we? This time we go straight for rollouts as it uses Curse to knock itself out. We grow to level 31 and out comes the Haunter. Haunter uses Nightshade and we are on 45 HP going down to 24 as the Gengar comes out. Gengar uses Mean Look and rollout's now powerful enough to OHKO the Gengar. Just one more Pokemon, the Haunter uses Mean Look as well, and we have knocked it out. And for that we get an evolution. Our Pineco is now a Forretress. That means we are Bug Steel type instead of pure Bug, and we have an awful lot more defense, 140 in the defense stat now, so we should be able to take many physical hits without having to worry at all. In Olivine City we get strength from the man in the cafe. We have a little chat with Jasmine, who is looking after poor Amphi. We pick up the rare candy, and we can move over the ocean towards Cianwood City. And the first thing we do in Cianwood City is pick up the medication for Amphi, so that when we go back to Olivine City we can battle Jasmine. And then we can move on into the gym. I can smoosh my face against some rocks, and we can have a little chat with Chuck. Chuck is of course a fighting type leader, only 2 Pokemon, a Primeape and a Poliwrath, so he'll lead with Primeape, and I don't think Primeape really has much that can hit us very hard. We take a whole 3 damage from Primeape's Fury Swipes as a Quick Claw activates to knock it out in 2. Out comes the Poliwrath, it uses Surf, we get another Quick Claw to flinch the Poliwrath, and it gets knocked out as well. And it felt so good having a nice easy gym battle with Pineco and Forretress. It had been a real struggle up until that point, but Chuck's split wasn't too far off a lot of the other Pokemon splits. Now here at the Lake of Rage we will pick up a rare candy, and we'll also pick up Hidden Power. Hidden Power turned out to be a very useless move for us. It was Steel type, which would have been good for stab, but there really wasn't any situation that I could see where it would have been useful. So we'll defeat the Gyarados and we'll talk to Lance the Liar. He drags us kicking and screaming around the underground of Mahogany Town shop, and we eventually get a fake Whirlpool TM from him, and we can move on to Price. Price is of course an Ice-type leader, and he will lead with that very not Ice-type Seal. So we're going to start off by getting a rollout going as Aurora Beam does very little damage, and we knock out Seal in 2. Out comes Dugong. Dugong goes down in 1 rollout because of course it's super effective. Out comes the Piloswine. Rollout isn't super effective, but it's built enough power up, and we have defeated Price. On to Jasmine we go with our Glacier badge in hand. Jasmine could be very tricky because she is a Steel type leader, and her Steelix is very defensively bulky. She starts with the Magnemite, and we use Protect on the first turn to try and avoid the Thunder Wave, but instead it just uses it on the second turn and we get paralysed. Thunderbolt starts hitting us, and we are down into the yellow as we knock it out and we get prepared for the Steelix. Unfortunately, I don't think there's much we can do to win this battle at this point. Even if we used Bide, I think we would have still been knocked out by the final Magnemite, but it doesn't matter anyway. We get knocked out by the Steelix, and it's time to go on a bit of a thinking walk. Around Johto we go, and I grab a few items en route. The first thing we do is grab the King's Rock. That's going to give us a chance to flinch opponents that we wouldn't otherwise have been able to. We get the rare candy in Violet City, and in Goldenrod City we get Return, and we also get the rare candy just south of Goldenrod as well. And with a clear ahead and a couple of extra levels, we can return to Jasmine and see if we do any better this time. She leads with Magnemite, we headbutt it and we manage to get it flinching. It doesn't flinch on the second turn, but we have a Paralysed Cure Berry just for the occasion, and we are now at level 40 as we move on to Steelix. This time I use Bide straight away, and would you believe, when I want Steelix to actually hit me, it starts missing all the time. Goodness me, I never get any luck with this Steelix, but eventually it does hit us a few times, and that means we can unleash energy, and we are on 74 HP as the final Magnemite comes out. We headbutt it and get a critical hit, we headbutt it again, and we have knocked out her Pokemon. Time of 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 53 seconds to defeat Jasmine. Let's move straight away on to rival number 4, because of course we picked up all our stuff we would normally do after Jasmine on our Thinking Walk. We start off with a rollout against the Golbat, and we hurt ourselves in confusion. We're confused and hurt ourselves again as Wing Attack deals a little bit of damage. We do eventually knock out the Golbat and we're on to Quilava. Quick Claw activates and we knock out Quilava in 1. Here comes Magnemite. Rollout's powerful enough to take it into the red, but we get paralysed. We're fully paralysed. I use Bide to try and knock it out as it uses Sonic Boom. We unleash energy and we are on to Haunter. Unfortunately at this point there's nothing we can do, and Curse finishes us off. Let's try again and hope we get a little bit of better luck and don't get confused quite as much on the Golbat. We start off with Rollout and miss. That is incredibly frustrating because we're confused again. However, unfortunately for that pesky Golbat, we hit through the confusion twice in a row, and when we get to Quilava we're no longer confused, so we knock out that in 1. On to Magnemite. This time Rollout has a lot higher power and we knock it out in 1. Haunter comes out and we miss our rollout as it uses Shadow Ball. We miss again as it Shadow Balls once more. We miss for a third time and eventually connect with the rollout. 2 rollouts later and we have disposed of Haunter onto Sneasel. Sneasel is weak to Rock because of its Ice typing. We knock it out, grow to level 44, and we have defeated rival number 4. With all that out of the way, we can teach Return instead of Headbutt to our Forretress, and that combined with the King's Rock will hopefully mean we'll still get a decent chance to flinch a lot of opponents. But it's Claire time, the actual Dragon-type leader of this generation, and she leads, of course, with Dragonair. We use Return against the Dragonair to take it deep into the red, but it's not quite enough to knock it out. It didn't use Thunder Wave there, which was very surprising. We knock out the second Dragonair in 1, and we're on to the third Dragonair. We take it deep into the red, and thank goodness Thunder Wave missed there, which means we are not paralysed. And now before the Kingdra comes out, we have the choice to learn Spikes, but we reject it because we didn't think it would be useful. This was a community decision between me and the chat because I was umming and ahhing for a little while. Kingdra hits us with Surf a couple of times, but we're not really in any danger of being knocked out, and we defeat Claire and get the badge in a time of 1 hour, 50 minutes and 11 seconds. We would already have defeated Red with Girafarig at this point, but we move on to the final rival fight, where we start with a rollout against the Sneasel. Rollout building is good because we still have nothing to hit that pesky ghost type. Rollout knocks out Typhlosion in 1, and we are on to Golbat. Golbat is yet another Pokemon weak to Rock and goes down in a single hit. Magneton resists, but Rollout's very powerful at this point and we knock it out in 1. Here comes the pesky Haunter. We're going to have to build up Rollout again, but he doesn't seem to want to swear at us. And we are almost at full HP as the Kadabra comes out. We knock it out in 1, and that was a very simple rival battle. A lot easier than Rival 4. And with that, we can move on into the Pokemon League. As always, the first thing we'll do is have a cheeky little heal up with Nurse Joy. And now it's time to say thank you to our HM friends. We say thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and to Parish. You've all been a great help in the Johto region. Get some well-deserved rest as we take on the league with just our Pineco. We'll buy our 4 full restores from the Pokemart. We'll either need them or we won't make it through the league. And now let's take a little look at our stats. We have 175 HP, we are level 54, almost level 55. Our learn set at the moment is Return, Protect, Rollout and Bide. Our held item is the King's Rock to try and get Pokemon to flinch. Our attack is 133, our defense is a whopping 188, 103 in the specials and 82 in speed. And with all that, we're not ready to take on the league. I forgot to pick up a couple of bits and pieces, so we're going to pick up a rare candy, and we're also going to pick up TM40, which is Defense Curl. When we use Defense Curl before Rollout, it will double Rollout's power, so that is why we did that, but we're not going to teach it straight away. We might need it a little bit later on in the league. And our first league member is Will. He will lead with a Xatu, and Xatu knows Confuse Ray, so we protect ourselves there, and then we start to roll out. We take Xatu down in a couple of hits and lose 40 HP in the process, and out comes Xatu number 2. Unfortunately, Xatu number 2 does manage to hit us with Confuse Ray, and we hurt ourselves in confusion. It's a short confusion, but rollout then starts to miss. We don't knock out the Xatu on our next rollout, and that means he can heal up. We take it deep into the red again, he gets a critical hit, and then a Psychic takes us down to 2. It's a foregone conclusion at this point, we have no way of winning the battle, and Exeggutor's Psychic knocks us out. That was some atrocious luck against Xatu number 2, but we make up for that on this turn by getting a lucky critical hit against Xatu number 1 with return. We managed to knock out Xatu number 2 with another critical hit with return, and we're on to Exeggutor. We take Exeggutor into the yellow as it seeds us with Leech Seed, and we knock it out on our very next turn. Out comes Slowbro. We take Slowbro into the yellow, but unfortunately Leech Seed means it's going to be a 3-shot, but our bulk means we are not really in any danger of being knocked out by the Slowbro. And the final Pokemon is Jinx. We use Return against the Jinx to knock it out, and we can defeat Will and move on to Koga. Koga is a poison type specialist, so on paper this should be very, very, very easy, because we are immune to his signature typing. We don't quite take out the Ariados in one shot, but we do manage to hit it without taking any damage and knock it out. On to Venomoth. Venomoth also goes into the red and manages to confuse us, but we hit through the confusion to take it out. It's Forretress against Forretress. We don't really have a good move for Forretress, so we're just going to use Return and hope for flinches with the King's Rock, which we get very lucky with. We only end up taking 4 HP of damage throughout the entire battle there. On to Muck we go, and we're not going to be able to hit it in one shot, so we're just going to have to hope we hit through its evasion, because as soon as you use Minimize there, we do unfortunately miss our next return, but we hit our third one, and the final Pokemon is Crobat. We use Rollout against the Crobat because we're out of return, but it keeps using Double Team. We eventually hit one, and we've just got to land one more, which we do, so it's a 2-shot on the Crobat, and we have defeated Koga. Let's now move on to Bruno. Bruno is a fighting type specialist, and he leads with Hitmontop. Hitmontop loves to dig, but unfortunately in this instance we don't have Earthquake, so it's going to be a 3-shot in total. We're going to have to miss one of our returns there. We knock out the Hitmontop, and we are on to Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan does have a Fire-type move, and Fire Punch deals a lot of damage because of a critical hit. But there you can see just how weak Hitmonchan's special attack is, because the critical hit didn't even take us into the red. Hitmon leaves no issue at all, out comes Machamp. It's going to be a 2-shot on the Machamp, but Machamp's cross-shot misses, and the final Pokemon is Onix. We have the type advantage over Onix, but we don't have a move to take care of it easily, so again we're just going to have to spam Return, and then a rollout at the end because we ran out of returns. That is Bruno all done and dusted. Let's now move straight away onto Karen. And again, we should have the type advantage over Karen, but we don't have any stab moves to really do anything with the type advantage. We hit the Umbreon a couple of times and it goes down, but we do lose accuracy, and onto Houndoom we go. Flamethrower takes us down in one shot from full health. Our only option at this point is the Quick Claw. We've got to throw the dice and hope for the best. So we'll start off with a Defense Curl to boost our rollout against the Umbreon. We'll then use Protect to try and stop an accuracy drop, and it does manage to confuse us in the end. However, we don't really have to worry too much because Umbreon can't hurt us. We do get an accuracy drop, and rollout eventually knocks out the Umbreon. We use the Quick Claw against the Houndoom to knock it out in one, and the rest of the battle should be an awful lot easier from here. Vileplume gets knocked out with a rollout. Here comes Gengar. Quick Claw activates and knocks out the Gengar. Final Pokemon is Murkrow. We end up being quicker than the Murkrow. Rollout hits, and we have defeated Karen in a time of 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 42 seconds. That is a very high time, but I am just proud of Forretress for getting this far. And now it's time to take on the Liar with the Flyers. We're going to Defense Curl against Gyarados to boost our rollout once more, and we are very, very happy that he used Rain Dance there. Unfortunately, our second rollout misses, and that takes us into the yellow as Charizard comes out. And even a rain-nerfed Flamethrower knocks us out. So we really just have to hit this Gyarados and not take that much damage from it. So we Defense Curl again as he uses Rain Dance. Rollout hits it for a lot of damage this time, and Rollout does connect on the second turn. Back onto Charizard we go. We use Rollout with the Quick Claw and knock it out in one. Here comes Dragonite. He sends out his level 50 Dragonite, which confused me a little bit, and we start building the rollout once more. We take it out in 2 shots, and on to Dragonite number 2 we go. Dragonite number 2 gets outsped and gets knocked out with a single rollout. Rollout hits on Dragonite number 3 as well to knock it out in 1. And the next Pokemon is Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl uses Rock Slide, we don't flinch, and we have defeated Lance in a time of 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 45 seconds. And that means we can go into the Hall of Fame and register ourselves as the champions of the Johto region. League time of 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 4 seconds. Kanto is next. and we rejoin outside our house in Newbark Town where it all began. First thing we do is get a call from Professor Elm, who's got some stuff to give us. First thing he gives us is the SS ticket that'll let us get to Kanto itself, and the second thing we have is the Master Ball. The Master Ball is going to be great for catching Snorlax in case we need the leftovers. We now need to withdraw our HM friends from the PC. They had a lovely little rest, so we say welcome back to Kenya, Abro, Psyduck and Paris. We've only got the one rare candy to pick up, and that one is in the Whirl Islands because we've got the other one when we got the Defense Curl TM, and now we are in Vermilion City. First thing we do in Kanto, of course, is the last thing we do in Johto. We pick up yet another rare candy. This one is from the chairman of the Pokemon fan club, and now it's time to take on Erica and her Grass Gym. We have a very, very nice resistance to Grass-type Pokemon, so this really is a foregone conclusion. Although we do get sent to sleep by the Tangler, and that does throw a bit of a spanner in the works. It's going to increase our finish time by a little bit, especially because this is the first proper nap we've had, so we are struggling to wake back up. Giga Drain is doing barely anything, Vine Whip is doing even less than that, and eventually we wake up to take out the Tangler, and we are on to Victory Bell. And we are now in a similar situation to what we were with Hypno, where we are struggling to one-shot Pokemon, and instead we're getting Pokemon deep into the red, but it's meaning we're taking just that extra turn, and that time really does add up over the course of a run. But we managed to get a lucky critical hit on the Bellossom, and we have defeated Erica. Let's move on to Misty. We want her Cascade badge, and we're surfing to assert dominance over her there. The first Pokemon out is a Golduck. We take Golduck out in one shot, and the next Pokemon up is Quagsire. It's a two-shot on the Quagsire, but Quagsire uses Amnesia, and that's perfect for us, because it means we're on full health as the Lapras comes out. We get it into the yellow in our first hit as it uses Rain Dance, and we take it out in our second hit. Next Pokemon is Starmie. A Rain Dance boosted Surf does a lot of damage to us as we take Starmie to a sliver of health. We Quick Claw and take out the Starmie to get the Cascade badge in a time of 2 hours, 22 minutes and 38 seconds. Let's move on to Sabrina. Sabrina leads with Espeon, and Espeon loves to use Sand Attack, and that's exactly what it's done this time. However, because of our very good defensive typing, her Pokemon pose no threat whatsoever. We take out Mr. Mime in the blink of an eye, Alakazam goes down in the same way, and we have defeated Sabrina. Next up is Lieutenant Surge, and I'm always surprised there isn't some kind of interaction between the Steel and Electric types. And I can see all sides of the argument for Steel either having a resistance or immunity, or even a weakness to Electric type moves, because of course Metal does conduct electricity. But anyway, I'm sure that Game Freak has its reasons for not doing a type advantage or resistance there. Magneton uses Double Team, and we manage to hit through it. Out comes another Electrode. It uses Double Team, but our Forretress has very good accuracy now and manages to take it out. Final Pokemon is Electabuzz. One return takes care of it, and we have defeated Surge in a time of 2 hours, 26 minutes and 1 second. Let's go and catch our Snorlax. Snorlax's leftovers will come in very handy for bulking up and just regaining that little bit of HP each turn, which could make all the difference between a win and a loss. But before Brock's Gym, we're going to teach Giga Drain, and Giga Drain is going to replace Protect. The reason being that Brock's Pokemon are all 4 times weak to Grass, so this should be one of our easiest gym battles since Chuck. So we'll start off with Graveler. A Giga Drain takes care of that in one shot, and I think it's going to be the same for all 4 of his remaining Pokemon. Omastar puts up no resistance and goes down to a single Giga Drain. Next up is Kabutops. Kabutops hasn't got the answer for us, so we move on to Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn says no thank you and leaves as quickly as he came out, and the final Pokemon is Onix. We know that Onix doesn't have the best base stats ever, and it hides behind Brock and decides to concede defeat. We have defeated Brock in a time of 2 hours, 28 minutes and 38 seconds. Quick trip to Cinnabar Island to pick up a rare candy and have a little chat with Blue, and now here comes a very, very, very scary gym. Blaine is a Fire-type leader, and he will start with Magcargo. We use Return against Magcargo, which probably wasn't the best play in the world, but Magcargo just starts swearing at us, in a different way to a Ghastly would, but a swear nonetheless. We get burnt and we don't want the attack drop, so we will reset, and we start again. This time I use Defense Curl as Magcargo uses Curse. We roll out to take it under half, we roll out again, and we have defeated the Magcargo. Onto Magmar the Bumhead Fireduck we go. That puts up 0 resistance at all, and the final Pokemon is Rapidash. Rapidash deals huge damage with a Fire Blast there, taking us down to 3, but we do get the KO, and we are now moving on to Janine. Janine, a little bit like her father, should be easy because we are immune to her signature typing, and we are starting off with a Crobat. Crobat, of course, is weak to rock, so I decide to use a couple of rollouts to take care of it, and we can move on to Weezing. Weezing isn't weak to rock, but rollout is boosted enough to take care of the first one. Second one goes down in a one hit as well, and we are now moving on to Ariados. We miss our rollout, but that doesn't matter because we can build it up again, because Bug, of course, is weak to rock. We're on to Venomoth. She uses a dire hit, but that just makes our hit more dire, and it's super effective because, of course, it's bug poison, and we get the Soul Badge. Moving on to Blue. Blue could be a mixed bag, you know, and not just because his type variety is mixed. We're starting with Pidgeot, and we use a defense curl to boost our rollout straight away as Pidgeot uses one in return, and we miss our second rollout. Pidgeot misses his rollout and then uses Whirlwind. That drags Kenya out, and at this point we can't really do anything in the battle. I do try spamming a couple of moves to see if he'll Whirlwind again, but he doesn't, so we're going to have to reset, and we have put all our HM friends back in the box. Whirlwind will now fail if he tries to use it just like that, and that means we can start building up our rollout. A few rollouts later and we have taken care of the Pidgeot, and we move on to Arcanine. Arcanine is the scary Pokemon, but our Quick Claw activates and we take it out in one. Next up is Gyarados. Gyarados is weak to rock as well and goes down in a single hit. That brings us nicely on to Exeggutor. Exeggutor goes down in a single hit as well because rollout is just that powerful. And next up is Alakazam. Our rollout has finished, so we just start all over again. 2 rollouts takes care of the Alakazam, and we are on to Rhydon. Critical hit on the first shot, and now it's just a matter of time. We take out Rhydon and get our 16th and final badge in a time of 2 hours, 34 minutes and 53 seconds. Just one battle left to go. We have to face Red up at the top of Mount Silver. So we'll talk to Professor Oak to open Mount Silver. We'll pick up the rare candy just east of the mountain, and now it's time to take him on. As we always do, we'll try at our current level with our current learn set and make chops and changes from there. First up is Pikachu. We don't outspeed and he tries to use Charm, and we don't OHKO. That is a really bad sign. If we don't OHKO the Pikachu, we don't really stand a chance of defeating the rest of Red's team. He does miss a Thunder, and 4 returns later we've taken care of the Pikachu. Out comes Venusaur. Venusaur is going to be setting up Sunny Day so that Charizard can hit us really hard with a flamethrower. In the meantime, Venusaur is doing a lot of chip damage with his Solar Beam, and in fact we're deep into the yellow when we finally knock out the Venusaur. Up next is Charizard. We use Rollout, and we do manage to take care of it. That was a very big shock, but we've only got 77 HP as we go onto the Snorlax. Snorlax goes down in one shot with a Rollout, but Blastoise outspeeds and knocks us out. So we will try again a few levels higher, but I've got to be honest with you, that was probably one of the most successful runs in the entire time trying to defeat Red. To add insult to injury of Thunder actually hitting, it's a critical hit from Pikachu to take us deep into the yellow, as we take him into the red and he uses a full restore because he likes cheating like that. And a return still can't one-shot. We get him to within a sliver of being knocked out, but it's not quite enough. Onto the Venusaur we go. Venusaur doesn't bother with Sunny Day, and instead takes in Sunlight, and we actually managed to knock it out, which was a very big surprise, but we're only on 19 HP for the Charizard. Quick Claw activates to take that down in one. Let's try the Snorlax. We use Rollout against the Snorlax, and we take it into the yellow, and a Body Slam finishes us off. Let's go even higher with our levels. We're now at level 73. Return does OHKO the Pikachu at long last. That means we can try properly setting up against the Venusaur. We use a defense curl and then we start to roll out, doing a little bit of damage on the first turn, a lot more damage on the second turn, and an awful lot of damage on the third turn to knock it out. Here comes Charizard. Charizard outspeeds, Flamethrower knocks us out, and we have to try again. Give it up for level 76. Pikachu's Thunder misses and we knock it out in one, and out comes the pesky Venusaur again. This time we use Defense Curl once more as it uses Sunny Day. We use Rollouts to start building up that power, so let's see just how far we can get. We are in the green as we knock out the Venusaur, and out comes Charizard. Unfortunately though, Charizard outspeeds and knocks us out. That was the story of most of the battles against Red. We were relying on the Quick Claw to get through Charizard, and then something magical happened. We defeat the Pikachu without taking any damage, and we are on to Venusaur. Rollout starts to build, and we are going to be comfortably in the green as we knock out the Venusaur. Up next is Charizard. The Quick Claw activates, and we take it out in one. That means we stand a chance of actually winning this battle. The sunlight fades as we roll out on the Snorlax, and we take it down in one shot. Up next is Blastoise, and we are in a far better position this time around. I used Return for the first couple of turns to try and whittle its HP down as much as possible because our special attack isn't great, and then we get to Giga Draining. We managed to drink a lot of health from the Blastoise and we are in the green as the Espeon comes out. Espeon uses Reflect as we use Return. We're going to have to swap back to Giga Drain. We managed to regain some HP each time from the Giga Drain. This is our only way of regaining HP. Psychic takes us down to 11. We're on 31. Our Quick Claw activates and we have defeated Red with such great luck. 63 resets in a time of 2 hours, 50 minutes and 40 seconds. I was genuinely floored at this point, because I thought we'd be there for another hour and have to grind. But Lady Luck really was smiling upon us at the very end of this run. I am astounded that we got 16th place. We are ahead of Corsola, Sunflora and poor Magcargo. And that means, of course, there's no change to the top of the leaderboard. Girafarig still in first, Ursaring in second, and Jinx in third. And with that, we're done. So I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed yourself, please do leave a like. If you've got anything to say, leave it in the comments down below. I now have a Patreon at patreon.com/trainersquidgy. And if you've really enjoyed yourself, please do consider subscribing. Until next time, though, I'll say thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.